I'm glad that my godbrothers are here. The Jai Om prayers, you know, what's that called? Prema Dwani, yeah. Prema means love, right? Prema Dwani, the sounds of love. So there was a decision by the GBC back in the middle 1980s to add ISKCON founder Acharya to the Prema Dvani. Did you know that? Yeah, it was in about 1985. The thing was, that there, after Prabhupada's passing, there were a number of new gurus. So the thought was, well, over time, instead of having Prabhupada's name like at the beginning of the Jayam prayers, you know, there'll be other people's names, and then eventually Srila Prabhupada's name is going to get lost in the mix. You follow? So then put it after ISKCON founder Acharya, put after Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda, right? Before you say different Parampara Acharyas, then Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda, then ISKCON founder Acharya, then Namacharya Hari. So after that, it's all the permanent ones. Namacharya Haridas Thakur, Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, yeah, like that. So I don't know, maybe it was changed. I don't know. Do you know this? If it was changed? Yeah. But that was a big deal at that time. ISKCON founder Acharya goes after what? Goes after which one? Ananta Koti Vaishnavrinda, yes, Hare Krishna. Just for consideration. At least that was the decision made. So usually we try to follow the recommendations of the GBC. And did Srila Prabhupada always chant the full Prema Dwani before class or in other times? No, he didn't always chant it, but usually he did. Usually, Jai Om Swad, yeah, he usually did. So we usually try to do that, you know. So ISKCON founder Acharya, something was inserted there by the GBC in the 1980s. All right. This is kind of like housekeeping functions. How long is this class for? 9 o'clock, okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. We are reading, studying, discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. Today, we have a number of verses in the 10th canto, 83rd chapter. The chapter is entitled, Draupadi Meets the Queens of Krishna. Draupadi meets the queens of Krishna. And some of you, you're following this since you attend classes here, others might not. Anyway, but I was supposed to do verses 11 through 16. So there's a bunch of verses. I'll just chant the first verses, and then we'll chant the last 15 and 16, I think, are two. We'll chant those responsively. Oh, there it is. Okay. Yeah. Good. Hare Krishna. It's a little, light is a little dim here. So you get older, your eyes don't work as good sometimes. Shri Kalindi Uvacha Tapascharitam Agyaya Svapada Sparshanashaya Sakyopedya Grahit Paning Yoham Tad Grihamarjani. Sri Kalindi said, "The Lord knew I was performing severe austerities and penances with the hope of one day touching his lotus feet. He came to me in the company of his friend and took my hand in marriage. Now I am engaged as a sweeper in his palace." Okay. We'll go to the next one. Okay. So can anybody tell me what the first verse was about? What's that? Huh? Kalindi, yeah, Kalindi. So Kalindi was the Yamuna, according to Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Yamuna is an expansion of Kalindi, the wife of Krishna. Yeah. So what else? What happened in this verse? Do you remember what happened in the verse? Just Tattvavid Prabhu. See, this is good. He was paying attention. Very good. Thank you. Yes. So she was performing severe penances and austerities. Why? To be able to touch the lotus feet of Krishna, and then to get him as her husband, and then now she's a sweeper in his home. Yeah. Text. Yeah. Next one. Shri Mitravindo Vacha Yo Mam Swayamvara Upecha Vijitya Bhupan Ninye Swayatagam Ivatma Balim Dvipari Bratrings Chame Prakuruta Swapuram Shriyaukas Tasyastu Menu Bhavam Angravane Janatvam Sri Mitravinda said, at my Swayamvara ceremony, he came forward, defeated all the kings present, including my brothers, who dared insult him, and took me away just as a lion removes his prey from amidst a pack of dogs. Thus, Lord Krishna, the shelter of the goddess of fortune, brought me to his capital city. May I be allowed to serve him by washing his feet, life after life. I'm not going to ask anybody about that one. I did it last time. Then, Shri Satyovacha Saptokshanoti Bhalavirya Salik Saptokshanoti Bhalavirya Sulikshasi Sringan Pitra Kritanchiti Pavirya Parikshanaya Tanvira Durma Dahanastarasa Nigrihya Kridan Babandha Hayata Shishavo Jatokan Ya Itam Virya Shuklam Mam. Is that on there? Ya Itam Virya Shuklam Mam Dashibis Chaturanginim Pati Nirjitya Rajanyan Ninyeta Dasyam Astume. Sri Satya said, my father arranged for 7 extremely powerful and vigorous bulls with deadly sharp horns to test the prowess of the kings who desired my hand in marriage. Although these bulls destroyed the false pride of many heroes, Lord Krishna subdued them effortlessly, tying them up in the same way that children playfully tie up a goat's kids. He thus purchased me with his valor. Then he took me away with his maidservants, with my maidservants and a full army of 4 divisions, defeating all the kings who opposed him along the road. May I be granted the privilege of serving that Lord. Next one. Shri Bhadrovacha Pita me matuleyaya Svayam ahuya dattavan Krishne Krishnaya tachchittam Akshauhinya sakhi janai Asya me pada sangsparsho Bhavej janmani janmani Karma bhi bhramyamanaya Yena tachtreya atmana Shri Bhadrovacha Pita me matuleyaya Svayam ahuya dattavan Krishne Krishnaya tachchittam Akshauhinya sakhi janai Asya me pada sangsparsho Bhavej janmani janmani Karma bhir brahmayanaya Yena tachstreya atmana. Please chant. Shri Bhadrovacha Matuleyaya Asya me pada saksakyo Janmani janmani Vivekanmananyaya Atmanaha Shri Bhadrovacha Me Bhadrevaya Ahura Tattva Asya me sada sangsparsho Yadnani janmani We changed the tune. Vaishnavis. Pita me matuleyaya Swayamahaya dattava Krishnaya Krishnaya Tachittam Akshohinya Saki Janai Asya me pada samparsho Janmani Janmani Karma Vibhagamanmaya Yena Tachreya Atmana Sri Bhadrovacha Pita me Bhatuteyaya Swayam Ahuya Dattavan Krishne Krishnaya Tachittam Akshohinya Saki Janai Asya me pada samparsho Bhavesh Janmani Janmani Karma Vibhramanannaya Vinadachyakat Shri Bhadra Uvacha Shri Bhadra said, Pita, father, me, my, Matuleyaya, to my maternal cousin, Swayam, of his own accord, Ahaya, inviting, Daitavan, gave, Krishna, O Krishna, Draupadi, Krishnaya, to Lord Krishna, Tat, absorbed in whom, Chittang, whose heart, Akshohinya, with an Akshohini military guard, Saki Janai, and with my female companions, Asya, his, me, for me, Pada, of the feet, Samsparsha, the touch, Bhavet, may it be, Janmani Janmani, in one life after another, Karmabhi, due to the reactions of material activities, Brahmaya Mana, who will be wandering, Jena, by which, Tat, that, Shreya, ultimate perfection, Atmana, of myself. Translation. Shri Bhadra said, my dear Draupadi, of his own free will, my father invited his nephew, Krishna, to whom I had already dedicated my heart, and offered me in him as his bride, to him as his bride. My father presented me to the Lord with an Akshohini military guard and a retinue of my female companions. My ultimate perfection is this, to always be allowed to touch Lord Krishna's lotus feet as I wander from life to life, bound by my karma. Purport. The word Atmana, Queen Bhadra speaks with the word Atmana. Queen Bhadra speaks not only for herself, but for all living entities as well. The soul's perfection, Shreya Atmana, is devotional service to Lord Krishna, both in this world and beyond, in liberation. Srila Jiva Goswami comments that although in civilized society it is normally considered disrespectful to publicly speak the name of one's guru or husband, Lord Krishna's name is unique. The mere utterance of the name Krishna is commendable as the highest expression of reverence for God. As the Svetasvatara Upanishad 4:19 states, Yasya nama mahad yasha. The holy name of the Lord is supremely glorious. Om agyana timirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militang Jena Tasmai Shri Gurave Nama. I was born in the darkest ignorance, but my spiritual master has opened my eyes with the torchlight of transcendental knowledge. Therefore, I first offer respectful obeisances to him. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtang Stapitang Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupakata Bhaikyam Dadati Sha Pandantikam. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you all. Thank you. Before speaking, I first have to ask permission and blessings from all devotees, and particularly those who are senior by age and or advancement in Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. There was a new devotee or newer devotee asked me one time, because they were asked to give class in an assembly. And they said, but there's other senior devotees there. What should I do? How can I do this? Because, to speak in the presence of a superior, that's not proper etiquette, isn't it? Vidura was asking Uddhava to speak. Who is Uddhava? Uddhava is the very close relative and friend of Lord Krishna. And there was Maitreya there. And Maitreya was his, in terms of realization, Uddhava certainly was, but Uddhava said, no, Maitreya's here. You have to hear from him. So similarly, in Vaishnava society, if you're put in a position where you might speak and there are seniors or more advanced persons present, may not know. So at least we can ask for permission first to avoid any offenses that you may commit. And in any yajna, when they do the Agnihotra yajna, did some of you see that at Khargar? There are different priests there. And one of the priests is a referee priest. In sports they have a referee. Usually people don't like the referees, you know that. They know the rules, and they say, you're breaking the rules? No, good, stop that, right? So the referee priest is there because in the yajna, there's a lot of complex things to do. And they might make a mistake according to the mantras or the tantras, whatever they're doing. So the referee is there to make sure, you got to redo this over because you made a mistake there. So when the Srimad Bhagavatam is a kind of yajna, so if any of you, especially my godbrothers, if there's some correction or addition to what I say, then please feel free to include that or correct me, because I'm a conditioned soul, and hearing from devotees is always auspicious. It's always auspicious, and especially Satam prashangam mamavirya samvido bhavanti redkaran brashayana kata. Kapila Dev says that the Srimad Bhagavatam is very sweet. The katha of Lord Krishna is very sweet, and it becomes even sweeter. How? How is it sweeter? When it's discussed in the assembly of devotees. So then we get different angles of vision, and we can hear people's realization, different devotees' realization. It becomes very, very wonderful. So then it purifies the heart even more. So I request that if any of you add or would like to correct anything that might be said inadvertently or on purpose, feel free. So that person asked me, I told her, yeah, you just ask for permission from the devotees, before you speak. And then I thought, well, what about me? I better do that too. I do. So this is something that, we didn't see Srila Prabhupada do this. Of course, Srila Prabhupada was the most senior and the most advanced, isn't it? But we can do it. I try to do it regularly. Most of the time, I do get blessings from and approval from people. Not always. It's okay. All right. So, thank you for that. Then, this we heard about different queens. There's 8 principal queens for Lord Krishna. You know those 8 principal queens? Who's number 1? Very good, Rukmini. And notice that she's the principal queen, and she spoke first. Did you notice that? She spoke first. They put her forward. Nobody spoke for her. She was the principal queen. And then after Rukmini, there was Satyabhama and Jambavati. Yeah, both of them came to. So this is like, these are important persons, right? Lord Krishna's queens. Chintamani Prakarashadmasu Kalpavriksha Surabhira Vipalyantam Lakshmi Sahasra Shatasambrama Sevyamanam. Lord Krishna, sometimes people get amazed that Lord Krishna had 16,108 wives, isn't it? And they think, well, this is too much. That's too much. It's just over the top. There's some Muslim kings, they had, many hundreds of wives, and so, but they would only maybe see the wife once in a year. But Lord Krishna, he expanded himself 16,108 times and stayed with its queen. Yes, this is something very, very, very special. That was certified by Narad Muni. So people get confused, but Srila Prabhupada would say, why just 16,000? Sahasra Shata Sambrama, hundreds of thousands, or everybody, all living entities are the maidservants, are supposed to be, by nature, the servants of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He can have millions and millions of wives, and there's no fault on his part. No, from a material point of view, that's overwhelming. So from a material side, people with material vision, you should just have one wife, that's best. Therefore, Lord Ramchandra, he had one wife, Mother Sita. But Lord Krishna was showing the opulence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was not constricted in any way. So he had, started 16,108. And so the 16,100, where were they from? Yeah, Bhaumasura. They were taken away by Bhaumasura. And so that was kind of like a group marriage all at once. He accepted those. They wouldn't be accepted by anybody else. But so those ones. And then these 8 were considered the principal. There was Rukmini, Jambavati, and Satyabhama. Right. So you've talked about those 3 already a little bit. And it's very interesting because, the Satyabhama and Jambavati, they were involved in a big conspiracy. You know that. There's a whole thing. There was theft. There was murder. Several people were murdered. Satyajit's brother was murdered, right? Then, who else? Satyajit himself was murdered. And then, who? Shatadanya. He had killed Satyajit, and he got liberated by Lord Krishna, right? All this, So sometimes, we think in the Hare Krishna movement, sometimes there's some controversy or conspiracy stuff. It's not just in the Hare Krishna movement. It's in the pastimes of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. These things are going on. Lord Krishna's own father-in-law was killed. His own father, his wife's father. It's amazing, right? Where was Lord Krishna at the time? What happened to, why wasn't he there? Where was Lord Krishna at the time when Satyajit was killed? Huh? Yeah, he was in what was he there for? Huh? No, not the Rajasuya. He was there. He was there. This is very interesting stuff. He was there for the funeral of the Pandavas. Isn't it? You don't? Krishna went to the funeral of the Pandavas. Why? Because everybody thought that in the house of Lak, the Pandavas and Mother Queen Kunti had been killed. And so, of course, so Krishna, he knew, he is the Supreme Personality of God, he knew that they were not, but to show social convention, he went there, you know? It's very, very interesting. Very interesting. So there's this whole thing. He had gone, and in the meantime, while he was away, Akrura and Kritavarma, who are both great devotees of the Lord. Who is Akrura? Akrura is Lord Krishna's uncle. And we say there's different devotees who have reached perfection by different processes of devotional service, isn't it? Like Shravanam, Kirtanam. Who made the perfection, who reached perfection by Shravanam? Yeah, Parikit, yeah. And by Kirtanam? Shukdev Goswami, yeah. And how about by Bandhanam? Akrura. And when did that Bandhanam happen? That Bandhanam happened earlier, before this. When he was taking Lord Krishna and Balaram back to Mathura. When he took so who asked Akrura to get Krishna and Balaram? Kamsa. So Kamsa says to Akrura, because Akrura was working and he had a job working for Kamsa, right? So he said, I have this great idea. Krishna and Balaram are there in Vrindavan. So I want to bring them here so I can kill them. Kamsa's telling Akrura, and Akrura is Krishna's devotee, right? I want to bring Krishna and Balaram here so I can kill them. What do you think, Akrura? And what does Akrura say? What does Akrura say? Great idea. I like it. He says, you look at it in the Srimad Bhagavatam, he says it's a great idea. Why? Because he knows nobody can kill Krishna, and he wanted to have the opportunity to associate with Krishna, right? But that same Akrura, he was involved in this plot. He and Kritavarma, they put Shatadanya up to the murder plot. And then, look at this. Satyajit had a Shyamantaka jewel. The Shyamantaka jewel. And that Shyamantaka jewel, there were various benedictions. Where did he get the Shyamantaka jewel? Yeah, it's from the sun god. And that's along with that jewel, there were some benedictions that he got. What were those benedictions? Gold. Yeah, we like that gold part. He was getting gold. He made an altar and there's gold. If it was properly worshipped, then gold would come, And not only that, but no problems would happen to someone who had that Shyamantaka jewel. No calamities, nothing. So this is a little problem here. Think about it. So the sun god being kind to benedict Satyajit gives this Shyamantaka jewel. In one sense, what was the cause of Satyajit's death? The Shyamantaka jewel, right? So this is the kind of benediction that one can get from the demigods. It may be good for some time, but ultimately it's not for the benefit of the soul. There's so many different benedictions you can get. Yodyave, polapave, dukhavina vanaka. Yeah, but the benefit you get from these things is not, Krishna says, they're limited and temporary. Yeah, so a wise person, they don't look for those things. So, Parikshit Maharaj asked Shukadev Goswami, he said, the devotees of Lord Shiva live in Lord Shiva lives in a smashan. What's that? The crematorium, right? He's got nothing. But his devotees, they're usually very wealthy. They've got a lot of stuff. Isn't it? And the devotees of Lord Vishnu, who's Lakshmipati, the husband of the goddess of fortune, they usually have very little. How's this? You follow? It doesn't seem right. Do you follow? So, you know what Shukadev Goswami said? What did Shukadev Goswami say? Yes, very good. It's funny you ask. A funny thing you ask. Because your granddad, Yudhishthira Maharaj, asked the same exact question to Lord Krishna. Sometime back. And what did Lord Krishna say? He said, Yasyaham anugrinami harisye tadhanam shanai. He said, when I'm really kind to somebody, it's not that I give them a lot of stuff, but step by step, I take things away from them. That's really my mercy. Oh. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. So this Shyamantaka jewel really wasn't a benediction for Satyajit. It got him killed right in the end. And look at that even though there was a benediction that anybody who has that Shyamantaka jewel and worships it properly is not going to come into any harm, still he got harm. Still he was killed. So what does that mean? That means that Krishna's purpose was there to supersede the benediction given by the sun god, isn't it? It's very interesting. So these are the things that are going on. So you think in ISKCON sometimes there's controversy and stuff like that. We'll find it in Srimad Bhagavatam as well, Mahabharata as well. Yeah. So this part of the Srimad Bhagavatam, this is at where this is taking place. Do you know where this is taking place, this discussion, when Draupadi is speaking to these queens of Krishna? Kurukshetra, yes. So this Kurukshetra, this is when there was the solar eclipse, right? And many of the people from northern India, they congregated in Kurukshetra. And Lord Krishna also came there from Dwaraka with his retinue. And the residents of Vrindavan also came with the gopis and the Nanda Maharaj. After many, many years, they came. And is this before or after the Rajasuya sacrifice? The Rajasuya sacrifice, shortly after the Rajasuya sacrifice. This is just timeline. To get, timeline. So is this before or after the Rajasuya sacrifice? Because after the Rajasuya sacrifice, shortly thereafter, there was the dice match, and then the Pandavas were exiled. You know that. Yeah. So was this before or after? I'm testing you. This isn't homework, it's testing. You think it's after? No, this was actually before. Even though in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it comes after, but actually, the Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami say that this actually happened before. That actually happened before, because here, all the like Bhishma, Drona, if it happened right after, there was all this dissension. And then there was the exile. So they were getting together, even those, the Kurus, who had very cordial relationship. Duryodhana was there. He was giving charity during the Rajasuya. So this was before that. Interesting. So then there was the three principal queens. And then we started off with Kalindi. Kalindi was the daughter of the sun god. And how did she get to become a wife of Lord Krishna? What's that? Severe austerities. Severe austerities. Her father built her a house, a palace in the Jamuna River, and there she was performing severe austerities. We don't get an explanation here about what those severe austerities were. I don't know if we have any devotees might know. I don't have any details about that. But usually, how is it? You say that Naham Veda, na tapasa, na danina, na chejaya. It's not by studying the Vedas, it's not by tapasya, it's not by austerity, not giving in charity. So how can she get Krishna? How can she become the wife of Krishna? By performing severe austerities. How's that possible? Yes. Oh, we have a microphone.
Srila Prabhupada writes in 9th Canto Bhagavatam, in Ambarish Maharaj's Charitra, that Ambarish Maharaj, it's written, he performed severe austerities and penance. Then there Prabhupada explained that he performed severe austerity means, for devotees, performing severe austerity means waking up early in the morning, doing Mangala arati, doing deity worship, cleaning the altar, dressing them nicely, then book distribution, then prasad distribution. Prabhupada said these are all devotional austerities.
Very nice answer. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So we know in the Bhagavad-gita, the famous verse, Yat karoshi yadashnasi yat jahosi dadasi yat tapasyasi konteya tat karushva madarpanam. Whatever you do, yat karoshi yadashnasi, whatever you eat, yat jahosi dadasi, whatever you worship, whatever you give in charity, yat tapasya, and whatever austerity you do, tat karushva madarpanam. Lord Krishna says, do it for me. Now, this is a very interesting verse. Because the same verse was recommended by Ramananda Roy to Lord Krishna, to Lord Chaitanya on the bank of the Godavari. And you know what Lord Chaitanya said when he recommended this as the process? Lord Chaitanya said, please tell me, what is the goal and what is the process for attaining the goal? So Ramananda Roy gave various suggestions, and Lord Chaitanya rejected them for a long time. And this is one of the ones that he said, no, that's external. So sometimes people say, if you examine Srila Prabhupada's commentary on this particular verse, sometimes he says that this verse is karma yoga, and sometimes he says it's bhakti yoga. So what do you make of that? I had a discussion with a devotee, and we were getting into it. No, it's karma yoga. No, it's bhakti yoga. What is it? What is it? So, what's the difference between karma yoga and bhakti yoga? Is there a difference? What is the difference? Yes. Go ahead.
In Bhakti Yoga, we do activities for the Lord. For the Lord.
Directly. Yeah. Good. So, a karma yogi and a bhakti yoga, they may do very similar things. Yeah. In karma yoga, Prabhupada says that a karma yogi is more attached to the work. And because of their attachment to the work, they know there might be some result, some karma fruitive result. So in order to escape that result, they give the result to Krishna. You follow? Yeah. Jagyartat karmanonyata lokoyam karma bandhana tadartam karma koteya mukta sangha samachara. I can't, this is, Krishna is saying this to Arjuna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra. He said, offer the results to Vishnu. Lord Krishna is the supreme Vishnu. He's saying, offer the results to Vishnu. And that way, you'll be liberated, freed from any bad reaction. So this is more the mentality of the karma yogi, is thinking, I have my work, and I'm very attached to the work, and okay, I'll give the fruits of my work, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that's good, yeah. But there's more of an emphasis on being freed from the fruits of the work and less of an emphasis on pleasing Krishna. You follow? Less of an emphasis. But gradually, as the karma yogi becomes more interested in doing everything for Krishna and for pleasing Krishna, karma yoga transforms into bhakti yoga. Do you follow? Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen, sometimes they have these pictures of an old woman. And one way you look at it, and she looks like an old, witch-like person. And if you look at it a different way, she looks like a beautiful young girl. It's just how you look at it, right? It's like so similarly, karma yoga, if you just add more Krishna consciousness and more interest in pleasing Krishna, that becomes bhakti yoga. Do you follow? Yeah. So Prabhu's statements about, what are those austerities? Those austerities are to engaging in devotional service. Yeah. Just like Brahma. Brahma, in the beginning of the creation, he heard those two words, tapa, right? And he sat on his lotus, and then what did he do? He performed austerities. But what were those austerities? Sahasrapatram kamalam gokulakyam mahatpadam tatkarnikaram tadhama tarananta. He's meditating on Krishna in Goloka. So that type of austerity is devotional service, meditating on Krishna, isn't it? Yeah. So this same thing, meditating on Krishna. Like we do austerity. You devotees do austerity. What is your austerity? You'll fast on Ekadashi, isn't it? At least no grains and beans, right? But fasting. But just the fasting isn't the whole point. The whole point isn't just the fasting. The whole point is to increase your hearing and chanting about Krishna, because that's the real point. In the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Shrinvata Sakata Krishna, Punya Shravana Kirtana. Punya Shravana Kirtana means this Shravanam Kirtanam about Vishnu is itself purifying. This is punya. It's transcendental punya as opposed to material punya. You know the story of Maharaj Nriga? Oh, is it late already? This Nriga Maharaj, he was a king, and he gave some a cow in charity to this Brahmin, and somehow that cow wandered back into his herd, and he gave it in charity to another Brahmin. So the first Brahmin came, hey, you stole my cow. What is this? So he said, I'll give you anybody. But no. He stormed out. So he was so pious. Nriga Maharaj was building wells, planting trees, giving in charity unlimitedly to Brahmins. So then he went to see Yamaraj after his passing. And Yamaraj says, okay, I'll give you the choice. Ordinarily, we don't have the choice. If you go see Yamaraj, you usually don't get the choice. You can enjoy or suffer first. But he was so exalted, he got the choice. You can either suffer or enjoy. Which will you take? And he kind of hinted, your enjoyment's going to be a lot, so better take that first. But he said, no, I'll take, Shreyas. I'll suffer first the sinful reaction. And so he became a lizard. So very lizard. But it wasn't any ordinary lizard. He was very wonderful lizard, and he was in a well. And so Krishna's family was having a picnic, and they threw their ball, got down in the well, and so they saw this wonderful lizard, and they called Lord Krishna coming. So then he got the touch of Krishna, and then he was transformed back into like his kingly demigod. But so, can you get Krishna's touch by doing pious work like building wells and planting trees? Here, what about Nriga? Didn't he do that? Didn't he get? So I think we should all go out and start planting trees and building wells, right? And then we can, even if we steal from a Brahmin, we can get touched by Krishna, isn't that? No. There's a special thing in the commentary by the Acharyas. They say it wasn't because of those things, but one day an exalted Vaishnav came to his kingdom. They said, I want a couple of things from you. can you distribute a set of Srimad Bhagavatams? And can you build a temple of Vishnu? And because of those things, not because of the trees and the transcendental piety of serving the Vaishnav, of distributing Srimad Bhagavatam, and of building the temple of Vishnu, that's why he got the touch of Krishna, those things. So it's not material piety, it was a spiritual piety. So that's the severe penances and austerities given by Kalindi to get Lord Krishna's lotus feet is that kind of austerity. Those kinds of austerities. And we also do those kinds of, we try to do those austerities. One of my godbrothers, Vidyananda Prabhu, you know Vidyananda? He passed away. But I used to like to go, anytime I see a godbrother or godsister of mine, I'll ask them, do you have some special contact with Srila Prabhupada? And I asked them, that devotee, Vidyananda Prabhu. He said, no, I never had any personal contact with Srila Prabhupada. I said, but you must have met him sometime, or you had in his personal. I said, well, I went to one darshan one time in 1976 in Mayapur with other Radha Damodar devotees. I said, well, tell me about what happened. What happened? I said, I didn't have any real personal contact with Srila Prabhupada. He says, well, tell me about what happened. He said, well, I was fasting on that day, Gorpurnima. You're fasting, right? Gorpurnima, I was fasting. And I was also fasting, I wasn't taking any water. And I said, well, so how are you feeling? He said, I was very exhausted. I was completely exhausted. So then you went to this darshan. And what happened in the darshan? He said, I can't remember anything. I was just so tired and so kind of discombobulated. I couldn't remember anything. But, well, tell me, you must remember something. Okay. Well, yeah, Srila Prabhupada in the middle of the darshan, he took a cup of water and he held it up and he said, drinking water on a fast day does not break the fast. And he drank it, like this. And so then I said, oh, that's interesting. So then what did you do? He said, well, I went outside and drank some water. And so says, how did you feel? I said, I felt refreshed. I felt so that was there was the austerity, but there was also Prabhupada's hand. And I felt refreshed so that I can continue doing my devotional service to Krishna. He did that. That was very personal, I thought. What do you think? Very personal things, yeah. Anyway, I had much more to say, but it's late. It's already 9:05, and I didn't even get to the main parts. But Brahmanda Brahmite Kono. You saw this in the verse that she's saying. This is Bhadra. She had an arranged marriage. It wasn't a love marriage. She had an arranged marriage with Lord Krishna. Well, Krishna married his wives in all different kinds of ways, right? There was the Rakshasa marriage. He just kidnapped them. There was the Swayamvara marriage, where there's some competition. And there's the proper marriage, like there's the arranged marriage, like that, all he did. Because he's the Supreme Lord, he can do anything he wants. But this was an arranged marriage. And she says, so let me be able to go and serve the lotus feet of Lord Krishna life after life as I'm wandering throughout this universe because of my karma. Very reminiscent of the instruction, the first instruction given by Lord Chaitanya to Rupa Goswami, isn't it? Brahmanda Brahmite Kono Bhagyavan Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Abij. Very important, the first instruction, yeah, E Rupe, to Rupa Goswami. Rupa Goswami, then that instructions for 10 days he heard in, where was that? Prayag, Allahabad, yeah. That became the nectar of devotion. Those instructions are there. So we hear, Bhagavad-gita is Krishna speaking to Arjuna for how long? Yeah, not long. Less than a few hours, right? And here, that same Lord Krishna, but as Lord Chaitanya, is speaking for 10 days. Wonderful, wonderful opportunity to imbibe spiritual knowledge. Yeah, for 10 days. That becomes the nectar devotion. So he says, he starts out with Brahmanda Brahmite. And that's, Brahmite means, what does Brahmite mean? Wandering, yeah. Our souls are wandering. My soul, your soul, every one of our souls. Brahmanda, where are we wandering? Throughout the universe. So this is not, we're not talking about the material body because our material body isn't wandering through universe, unless you're an extraterrestrial. The souls are wandering. So that means most of us likely have been in various other planets. Universe, right? You've been in other planets. And not only planets, but other species, not just human species. And in each species, we're thinking, I'm going to enjoy. I'm going to get some enjoyment. Isn't it? There's so many different species of life, and each one affords the person, the being in that body, a particular type of enjoyment. According to the taste, according to the hears, according to the smell, a particular kind of enjoyment. And in each case, we try hard to get that enjoyment, but we don't get it. Do you realize that? But we think, next time we'll get it. If I just get this next type of body, then we'll get it. That's called, you know what that's called? Maya. That's Maya. There was a famous president in the United States. I don't know if you've ever heard this. You can fool some of the people all the time and all the people some of the time. Have you ever heard this? And what's the third word? You can't fool all the people all the time. Not true. Not true. Because Maya can fool all the people all the time. Brahmanda Brahmiti Kono Bhagyavan Jeev. But Guru Krishna Prasade Bhai Bhakti Lata. Then, if we have the opportunity to get the Bhakti Lata, which Queen Bhadra is telling us about, then we can get free from that cycle of birth and death and go back to Godhead. We can find the full enjoyment. That word was given. Shreya Atmana. Shreya. We know in the Shikshastika verse. Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavado Jivanam. That real important, most important benefit for the soul, for the person, can be achieved Sri Krishna Sankirtanam, by this chanting of Hare Krishna, by this movement of Lord Chaitanya that has been promulgated by Srila Prabhupada all over the world. It's a wonderful thing. Thank you all for taking part in this movement, of this Hare Krishna movement, and continue to work hard to spread Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada's mission all over the world. Lord Chaitanya, Srila Prabhupada will shower his blessings upon you more than unbelievably so. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, very wonderful lecture. Thank you very much. I have a small doubt. Please clarify. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was discussing with Ramanand Rai, actually Srila Prabhupada many times said the essence of all religious principles is Sarvadharman Parityaja, surrender to Lord Krishna. But Mahaprabhu rejected it as Eohai Bahya. This is external. I never understood that. Can you clarify?
Yes. So he finally agreed with the I'm sure you know, Stane Stita Shrita Tanovagmanobi. Because that's where we begin in bhakti. Yeah, it's Sarva Dharman, yeah, but we have to begin here, start here, and then everything comes from that. Then we'll come for those things. That's how I understand it. But even though the translation there Prabhupada doesn't say, he doesn't call that external. He doesn't say, but in the other verses he says it's external, but he doesn't say, but still, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu uses the same Bengali word. It's, you say it?
Eohai Bahya.
Yeah, it's external for that Sarva Dharman. So, on the other hand, Srila Prabhupada said, Lord Chaitanya, Krishna said Sarva Dharman Parityaja, Mamekam. But because people couldn't understand that, couldn't appreciate it and follow it, Lord Chaitanya came and gave the same instruction, but in a different way. You know this. What is that? The same instruction, but in a different way. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Eva Kevalam Kalo Nasteva, Nasteva, Nasteva Gatirinya. Chant Hare Krishna. Chant Hare Krishna. So they call the Hare Krishna movement. Thank you.
When Satyajit brought Shamantak Mani, and then Krishna told him, "You give it to Ugrasen Maharaj." He did not give it, and then when after everything is over, he gave Satyabhama and this Shamantak Mani, but Krishna did not take Shamantak Mani, and he took he accepted Satyabhama because he is too much attached to wealth. He got killed.
Yes, yes. And the Acharyas also comment that Akrura was involved in the plot because of the influence of, because he took Krishna away from Vrindavan, from the devotees there in Vrindavan, so he was getting some bad reaction from that. Even such an exalted devotee as Akrura. Yeah. Haribol. Arikarta Prabhu.
That was a very nice class. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna. I don't know if you'll know this, you probably will, but who were the gopis that took birth as the 8 principal queens? Do you happen to know?
I don't know.
You must know Satyabhama. Radharani.
Huh?
Radharani was Satyabhama.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
And that's from?
Vedanta Madhava, it's in those books.
Okay.
When Krishna left Vrindavan, they committed suicide, some of them, and they took birth as the queens in Dwarka.
Yeah. It's an interesting point about Krishna, the timeline between Vrindavan, Mathura, and Dwarka. You know, how old was Krishna when he left Vrindavan?
12.
11, 12. What? Yeah, 11. Like sometimes you, by the Indian method, you go 11 becomes 12, but you know. Yeah. So
He aged quick. He was actually younger than what he grew, than what he came to be. In other words, he developed quicker.
Yes. And then how long did he stay in Mathura?
1 year? I don't know. 1 month? 1 week?
Long time.
How long?
Several, at least till his mid-20s, according to the commentaries. Mid-20s. So some good time. So good time. Huh? Yeah. I mean, I don't have any statement from Srila Prabhupada, but yeah. 17 times they're coming. Yeah. So he was there for a good amount of time. So then all that happened, and then he married Rukmini, and so then the Pandavas got married after Krishna, because when the Rukmini's marriage was there, the Pandavas were there, and they were still unmarried. So then when there was the Draupadi Swayamvara, who came to Draupadi Swayamvara? Krishna was there. Who else was there? Balaram was there. Who else was there in that group? Pradyumna was there. What's Pradyumna doing there? I thought he was just, he's the first son of Rukmini. What's Pradyumna doing there? Because he was such that when he was born, he grew immediately. So he could be an adult. He could grew up fully. So that was very interesting. But Krishna already had kids before the Pandavas married Draupadi. It was very interesting. So many kinds of things like that to find out. I'll say one. Or, that was after the House of Lac. Now in the House of Lac, this. Who set the fire? Who set the house on fire? Bhim set the house on fire, right? Bhim. And who died in the house? They found 5 bodies and 6 bodies they found. Who? Huh? There was a woman with her 5 sons. They say a Nishada woman, right? Okay, so she died. So Bhima set the fire, and these 6 people died. Isn't that manslaughter? You follow? You follow? If I set a house on fire and there's some people inside, I don't know, I may not know, but I set a house on fire, that's a kind of murder, isn't it? So what, Bhima is like that? So I asked a couple of my godbrothers, they said, oh, well, the morality was different then. I don't know if that was a good explanation. But, so I was, the Mahabharata you have to be careful of because there's so many different versions. And even at the time of Madhvacharya, he said that that's all messed up. Even his time, back in the 13th century, it's all messed up. So you don't know, you've got to be careful. But, so Vyasadeva, according to his biography, asked Madhvacharya to write a commentary on the Mahabharata. Did you know that? Yeah. It's called Tatparna Nrinaya. Yeah. So if you look in Tatparna Nrinaya, you'll find that those people who got killed in the house of lac, they were just anybody. They were in league with Parochana. And they were there, their purpose was to give poison to the Pandavas in order so that when the Parochan set the house on fire, they wouldn't be able to run out. Because, if there's a fire, you can get out, fire escape, right? So that was their purpose. So they were administering poison to the Pandavas. Oh, okay. Is there any evidence of that in Srila Prabhupada's books? Yes, there is. When Vidura left the Hastinapur before the Battle of Kurukshetra, he came back. He was on pilgrimage for many, many years. And then finally he came back to preach to Dhritarashtra. And when he was welcomed by Dhritarashtra, by Yudhishthir, at that time, Yudhishthir said, oh, Vidura, Uncle Vidura, just like wings of the dove, you protected us from arson and poison. How did Vidura protect them from poison? Question, right? Question. Well, because, Duryodhana tried to poison Bhima, but Vidura didn't have any, as far as we know, Vidura didn't have anything to do with that. So Vidura warned the Pandavas about the house and about the poisoning. That's how, so it's all consistent. It's consistent. So that I give credence to that translation of the commentary by Madhvacharya. He was there, he was there. It's the incarnation of Vayu. And he says that. So Bhima, not that, but Bhima knew what he was doing. It's a great devotee. Hare Krishna. Hare Bol. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharani Visheshana Vari Paschasya